So, with that being said, Mike and I are here and we are unveiling our 2020-2021 fantasy running back rankings. We did quarterbacks last week. You can watch that video on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com. You can also watch it on the fantasy football broadcast page. And if you click on the fantasy football tab on wakeupcalldt.com, you will see a written version of it that you can highlight and print out for your upcoming draft. So Mike and I make it easy for you. You can listen to us, watch us, and you can fold up our notes and carry them in your pocket to the draft. We got you all set and ready to go. Inside of the Charney's Menswear and Tuxedo Studios, that is Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. I am Dan Tortora of WakeUpCallDT.com. And you, my good people, are joining us on our live Fantasy Football Power Hour and hopefully joining us on Facebook in our fantasy football group, Winning Fantasy Football. So make sure that you join us there. The group is free. It is on the Facebook, and we're going to have some fun with it. So, Mr. Sofka, how are we doing today, sir?
I am doing awesome, Dan. How are you?
Doing very well. I'm excited. We're going to hop right into it. We're doing our running back rankings for 2020-2021. We did the quarterbacks last week, like I said. We are going position through, and we're going to give you our running backs. So you and I have talked about this probably 457 times already this year. But who is our number one fantasy football running back? I know you're going to say Todd Gurley. I'm kidding. So who's your number one fantasy football running back this year?
Look, the first thing I want to say is when you're watching these ranking videos, understand it's easy to get the top 3, 4, or 5 and then tune out. That's not where you win your league. That's not where you win your draft. So there's going to be a lot of people have the same rankings at top 3 to 5, maybe mixed up a little bit as I do or as someone else does. That's not where you win your draft. But I'm going to tell you something. If you want to win your draft, trade up to number 1. If there's a way for you to trade up to number 1, trade up, because Christian McCaffrey is an elite running back. The situation that surrounds him is even greater with Teddy Bridgewater in the fold. He demanded or was able to rely on a tight running game with Kamara and company in New Orleans. So I look for McCaffrey to be turned up a notch. Is it turned or turned?
Turnt. You want to get turned up. Turnt, Mike.
Here's the thing. There's not many people know, some people do. That's Joe Brady. He made Clyde Edwards-Helaire, whole name out of LSU. He's the guy that's there. He's the offensive coordinator in Carolina. You don't think they're going to use McCaffrey? They're going to use McCaffrey. They're going to abuse McCaffrey. Hopefully he stays injury-free. But Christian McCaffrey's the elite running back you want.
Yes, on yes, on yes, on yes. Christian McCaffrey. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it because we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. I'm all in on Christian McCaffrey, arguably the best fantasy football option in this year's 2020 fantasy draft for you. So very excited about that. Mike, number 2, who do you got?
Well, this one's a little bit tougher for some people, not tough for me. I think it's almost a 1A type situation. I like Saquon Barkley. I like the situation he's in. I like the dynamic that they have in New York. I think they need him. They need him to have big games. They need him to catch the ball. And by the way, the rankings I give are PPR rankings. I have standard rankings off the site. Most leagues are PPR now, so that's what I talk about in general terms. Saquon Barkley, he can catch the ball. He can jump over guys. He can jump through guys. And amazingly, he's been able to stay somewhat injury-free. I say somewhat. He's had some things that have cost him a little bit of time. But he's the type of guy that he'll either deliver a hit or he'll get out of the sideline safely. So keeping himself ready for the next play. I like Saquon Barkley as the 1A or number 2 running back this year.
Yeah, I got to give it up to Saquon Barkley as well. I'm going to agree with you wholeheartedly with this one. I think if not for Christian McCaffrey, we're talking about Saquon Barkley. So I think Saquon definitely is in this seat, comfortably in this seat. So, you know, I'm gonna say yes to this. I'm saying yes to the dress. And there's not a lot of great things going on with the Giants, but apparently Saquon is the good thing. I mean, I'm hopeful for Daniel Jones. They spent a lot of draft picks on offensive linemen finally. It only took him 3 years to listen to me. So hopefully that works out and Saquon can be helped by this. But this is a guy who, you know, I mean, you give him like 400 carries. I mean, this is someone that this is a workhorse for you. And hopefully he could bring us back to those old times where the Emmitt Smiths were lasting forever, you know, in the NFL and the Barry Sanders of the world. So I'm excited for Saquon. Christian's got to be the dude. And like Mike said, PPR, and, you know, Christian can catch the ball. He can do so many different things. So can Saquon, which brings us to the next guy who I'm pretty sure we're going to agree on because he led his team last year as a number one running back and led them in the beginning of the season as their number one wide receiver before they made a trade. So who's your number 3?
Well, you must be talking about Ezekiel Elliott.
I am.
He's a guy who can get it done.
Yeah.
He's been able to get it done from college. You know, he sets himself apart. He just pops differently on the screen when you're watching this guy run the ball. And the fact that they have one of the best offensive lines in Dallas still is tremendous. So you can take him, you know, with your first pick at running back, you can take him with confidence. But again, if you don't have picks 1, 2, or 3, I don't think you're getting him. Maybe pick 4, but 2 or 3 if you won't get it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you're, you know, yeah, right. I mean, obviously, it's funny how the running backs were kind of, they were important a few years ago, and then it kind of dipped off a little bit, and people were like, you know, maybe I'm going to draft this, maybe I'm going to draft that. But the reality of it all is, you know, running backs are to me, I'm more excited about them this season. I think that there's a lot of opportunity and potential depth at running back. I think that tier 1, and, you know, there is definitely like a small tier 1 comparative to other things that are out there, but I'm definitely all in on Ezekiel Elliott. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that this should be the pick that you make at this play. So the top 3 definitely makes sense to me, Mike. Who do you have for number 4? This is a guy that ran up my list. He definitely he found his way to get to where he is today. So who do you have for this one?
Oh, Alvin Kamara. This is a guy who, without a doubt, can catch the ball, can lead the team. You saw what he did. Breeze was hurt a little bit. I know Kamara gets dinged up as well, you know, but you know they did a smart thing in New Orleans. Okay, they had a guy to back him up, right? Who would they have? Well, they have Latavius Murray.
Yeah,
that's a guy you want to put in your pocket. You definitely want to handcuff him to Alvin Kamara. The reason why is Kamara puts himself out there. He puts himself out there every play. He's a very athletic guy. He's not afraid to stretch for the extra yardage. I think they're going to have to continue to convince him not to take a hit or not to deliver a hit. This is a guy who's got speed, can break one at any time. Alvin Kamara, you have to have a top 4 pick to get him.
Yeah, you know, this one was tough for me because I went a different route with this. I actually went with Derrick Henry, and I went with Derrick Henry. I mean, he was the only person at the end of the season last season to average over 100 yards a game. And I know that the back end of his season definitely loaded things up a little bit there because he did well as he went on. But, you know, that's what you need. You need a player that's going to continue to increase their level as time goes by. And with more trust that they gave him, more he did with that trust. So, and that sounded very much like a Yoda comment, the way that I pulled that through. More trust you have. But I had to go with Derrick Henry, and I'm sold on him. I really am. I haven't been for a really long time, but I'm sold on him right now. And so I'm excited about what Derrick Henry can do. I think it's great that Ryan Tannehill is going to continue to be there. Hopefully the wide receivers will help him out a little bit, and there's going to be a change from, you know, the Delaney Walker guard essentially to Jonnu Smith and so on and so forth. But for me, Derrick Henry is just a beast. He's in a contract year, and he's either going to really just stick it to the Titans, or they're going to figure out that they actually need to pay the man. So very tough Kamara, because I appreciate him so very much, but you'll see that he didn't dip too far on my list, but I had to go with Derrick Henry at number 4. Who do you have at number 5?
Yeah, hopefully by the time you're drafting, this won't be an issue, but there is an issue surrounding this guy, so I'm tentatively putting him at 5. You know, my board moves just about every day, believe it or not. But, you know, especially as we get closer to the season, you want to check back for updated rankings. Dalvin, He's demanding a contract. He's not going to participate in any football activities, practice. He's not going to show up to the facility. He's not going to do workouts. He's not going to do this and do that. He's going to hold out. Guess what? You should have read your collective bargaining agreement a little better. The one that just got passed with the Players Association, because they're precluding you from this holdout. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check it out. This guy's going to be in all kinds of trouble if he does hold out, but he's saying he's going to hold out. I'm hoping they're just going to get their heads together and get something done before the season. I'm talking about Dalvin Cook. And if you take Dalvin Cook, make sure you come right back and get Alexander Madison as a handcuff there, because Dalvin Cook has been injury prone. And if your draft is early enough and you're taking that chance that they're going to be able to get something done and he's going to be back in uniform for week one, that's what you want to do. You want to protect yourself. Dalvin Cook, he's number 5 right now.
Yeah, see, my number 5 is Alvin Kamara. I told you he didn't dip that far, and I couldn't. I couldn't find a way to send him anywhere that far down my list. So Alvin Kamara has to be my number 5. And so, Dalvin Cook is obviously very talented. He had some issue in the beginning of his career in staying healthy, but, he has been able to do some things, and God willing, he'll continue to do that. But yeah, you got to show up, and you gotta be ready to play. And I hope that he is not going to be holding out. We saw what happened with Ezekiel Elliott and his fight back and forth with the league. And ultimately, did it help out Zeke? Yeah, somewhat, but it kind of, killed the Cowboys in their tracks. So hopefully things will get better from that perspective. But I got to go with Alvin Kamara. Mike said a lot of things about him. He's in a tremendous offense. He has a tremendous quarterback when it comes to the talent of Drew Brees. He's got Michael Thomas. He's got Traquan Smith. There's a lot of guys there that are going to help him out. There's some tight end help that's finally coming in. And Latavius Murray, who is from Onondaga County, from my area, and was just on the show. We're going to be launching that on all of our platforms. We just got added to iHeartRadio, so we'll be adding Latavius' interview with me on that as well. That's right, baby. So very excited about that, and going to have some fun with sharing that with you once again. But my number 5, and I can't believe I'm putting him at number 5 because I feel like that's too low, but that's just telling you. To me, there's some more talent at running back to get excited. I feel like this is the year where we can really get excited. So I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara here, and we're going to move forward to number 6. Mike, what do you have for number 6?
Well, at number 6, I have Derrick Henry. You had him a couple notches higher, and I can see that. Some of these guys are somewhat interchangeable. The reason why I have him effectively lower here is I don't feel he catches the ball out of the backfield as well as a Barkley, as well as an Elliott, a Kamara. I think he's more of that straight line runner between the tackles, can break a home run at any time. He's a solid back. He's a big back. Has flashbacks in my mind of Christian Okoye from the Kansas City Chiefs days, the big, giant Nigerian nightmare. This is a guy who can get it done in Derrick Henry. He's a horse. But what did they do in Tennessee? Well, they made a decision on Deion Lewis, and they went out and drafted Darrington Evans. Definitely want to pick up a Darrington Evans some point late in the draft. Trade for him if somebody else. Zeke's on you there. Here's the deal. Derrick Henry can win you your league. Derrick Henry is going to be relied on heavily again. Yeah. Running backs take a pounding every time. Protect yourself when you get one of these running backs and back yourself up. But take Derrick Henry with a top pick with confidence, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Derrick Henry is if he dips just a little bit, if he dips in this region and he ends up where, where you have him, Mike, there's an opportunity to get something pretty awesome in Derrick Henry as a number 6, overall. And like I said, I got him in the top 4, but this is a guy that could be in the middle of your first round, which is fantastic. Fantastic news for anybody. My number 6 is a guy who, has risen up my list. He's somebody that I was hopeful for because Alabama running backs technically recently have not been rolling deep in the NFL. They haven't been rolling into that end zone as much as we want them to and been as consistent. But my pick at number 6 is a guy that makes me happy, and it's a guy that has gotten the job done, and that is Josh Jacobs, the best player. Darren Waller, obviously, I think last year I just cut and pasted every week. When we were doing Raiders games, who should you play in fantasy? Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, on to the next one. So, outside of the Jets in Miami where they made it really easy because they're like, Dan, who should you play this week? No one. Okay, next game. So, but the Raiders had 2, and these are their guys. Josh Jacobs, to me, is a tremendous talent. And, he's just somebody that I feel, again, you get him at pick 6 or pick 7 or pick 8 in your draft, depending on who takes what. This is another guy like a Derrick Henry where you're just going to go, how the hell did I get him as the 6th best running back? But it's got to be Josh Jacobs to me. Who's your number 7?
Yeah, I like Joe Mixon. I know that Giovanni Bernard is there, and he's the pass-catching guy. And, of course, they brought in last year Travion Williams and Rodney Anderson, and they just brought in Samaje Perine. Those guys ain't doing nothing, okay? Yeah. Run Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon needs to stay healthy, of course, again, but I like the situation with the rookie quarterback. I like the fact that his quarterback is going to play into this, not so much where they're going to have to give the ball to Joe Mixon to keep it away from Joe Burrow, but they're going to the defenses are going to have to play honest. They're not going to be able to load 8 guys in a box and force Joe Burrow to throw the ball. Joe Burrow is a notch ahead of that. They don't have to worry about Joe Burrow impeding the running game because everybody's going to load the box and they know it's a run. It's not going to happen. Joe Mixon is the top 7 running back.
Yeah, Joe Mixon's a talented guy, and he did make my top 10, but he did not make my number 7. My number 7 goes back to what Mike had just a few picks ago, and that is the one Dalvin Cook. And I put Dalvin Cook here because of, that thoughts of, and hopeful not, but God willing, God bless no. But the injury side of things, and like Mike said, what he's doing right now, and is he going to play, and what's going to happen, that's going to be an issue. But Dalvin Cook to me has got to be number 7. Talent-wise, he gets it done. His numbers are good. They might be even better. You might want to double-check what you think they are comparative to what they actually are, because he's cooking up something good in the kitchen. And I think that Dalvin Cook is somebody that you need to give an opportunity to and bring out there. Again, if you get this guy later on in the draft, you got to be very proud of yourself and happy with your drafting ability to have somebody like a Dalvin Cook. So I think, he's definitely in the top 10. He's a little higher for Mike, but I think for me, this is a guy who's going to put in some good work for you, and if he stays healthy, can really be an asset. And without Stephon Diggs there, they might lean on him just a little bit more. Mike, who's number 8 on your list?
Yeah, this is a guy who had a strong ending to the year last year. He won a lot of championships for teams. He had a strong Week 16. Talking about Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake, I can't believe I have him ranked this high, but when I look around, I think it makes sense. Kenyon Drake can catch the ball. Kenyon Drake can run the ball. Kenyon Drake is the reason they got rid of David Johnson. Yeah. Kenyon Drake is the reason why DeAndre Hopkins is there. He made everybody around him better. He helped the young quarterback. It's just amazing that a guy was a doormat in Miami, much like Tannehill in Miami, comes out and he's an explosive player on another team in a different situation. That's twice. I believe there was a problem in Miami. Hopefully they rectified it for their sake, but has no effect on Kenyon Drake. He's in a winning situation. He's in a dynamic, high-powered offense. I like Kenyon Drake this year a lot. You can pick him with your top 8 running back pick.
And I would also one-up what you said and said the reason that David Johnson's not in Arizona is because of David Johnson. So one of the dumbest picks in the world. I mean, it's like trading toilet paper and coronavirus for. How would I say? I don't want to say what I was saying. It's like trading toilet paper and coronavirus. Toilet paper being DeAndre Hopkins for. I would say a bottle, maybe a bottle cap, maybe just a bottle cap on the ground, maybe trading it for a used tissue. I don't know. But that's how I feel in this situation. It's like trading toilet paper for a Taco Bell napkin that you're using as toilet paper. That's what I'll say. And then somebody's going to come back and say, Dan, you compared David Johnson to Taco Bell toilet paper. Well, watch him play the last 2 seasons. I wanted him to be better. I expected him to be better. But you know what? He just hasn't been. And a DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson trade, that's a strange one to me. That's a head scratcher. I think that's one of the ones that's going to come back and bite you a little bit. But my number 8's going to the man Nick Chubb. And I know he's got Kareem Hunt back there with him this year again. But Nick Chubb to me He's talented. This is a high-powered offense. Again, it's supposed to be an offense that's going to have some good capability. I think fantasy football-wise, he did some good things. I'm a little bit concerned about, kind of where he's at in the sense of, how often are they going to use Kareem Hunt? But they've banked more on Nick Chubb than they have on Kareem Hunt, so I put it on him more, and I think that Nick Chubb is going to be a continued asset to this team. I think he's going to help you win some fantasy games, so it's hard for me to not put him in a position where he would be in my top 10 with the opportunity to really be something special, again, at the bottom of a round that you could pick up. Mike, number 9, what do you got?
Yeah, and I want to make one thing clear, and I didn't on the last ranking here, number 8. We're at that tier point, we're at that breaking point where, depending on where you are in the draft, maybe you're at the back end, maybe you have the 8th pick on back. You may consider going to Michael Thomas or a wide receiver at that point and then come back and get a running back. So keep that in mind. We're not saying take these guys with the 8th pick, take this guy with the 10th pick. These guys are peppered throughout, of course. These are the running back only rankings, and I know I don't have to say that, but I like to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from in these things. Oh, you said, no, I didn't say that. So let's be
We're not saying that this is how you should draft. We're saying these are that's why if you look above us, it says fantasy running back rankings. It doesn't say cheat sheet for entire draft. We will do one of those for you, but we're not doing them in this video. So if you want to know who the best running backs are, look up. There it is. It's right there. So there you go, Mike. I got your back, brother. Who's number 9?
Nick Chubb. You got to go Nick Chubb here. You got to go Nick Chubb simply because of the explosiveness. Now, I know Kareem Hunt is still there. I know Kareem Hunt is going to have more of an impact this year, but you're starting to see these high-powered situations where they have 2 high-powered running backs simply because they take a pounding. They get hit just about every play. Yeah. So this is a guy you can take with confidence with your first-round pick. If you still decide to go running back in the first round, late in the first round, I like Nick Chubb a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously I do too because I put him a pick before you. So my number 9 for me is going to be Joe Mixon. So I've never been 100% sold on Joe Mixon, but he's in a situation right now that puts him in the top 10 for me because he's outlasted everybody, right? That Giovanni Bernard has kind of gone into obscurity. Jeremy Hill disappeared into the Patriots, whatever it is now over in New England, and so we're now in a situation where here's Joe Mixon, he's the guy, and he was the youngest of the 3, and now of the 3-headed running back, he's really the one that I think they're going to lean on. I do think he has the opportunity for big play moments, and he has a rookie quarterback. And what does a rookie quarterback do? They trust in their running back. They hand them the ball. They freak out and go, here you go. Tight end, running back, that's where we go. So I think Joe Mixon just in that gets fantasy value because he is talented and he's got Joe Burrow going, and then just hand that ball off. So that's what you got to do. Trust in Joe Mixon in your top 10. I agree with Mike, just a little bit of a different pick. Mike, we're already to our 10 of top 10. Who is your number 10?
Well, this one's a struggle for me because I want to rate this guy higher, but I think he's okay where he is based on his situation. I'm talking about Miles Sanders. This is Saquon Barkley Jr. behind Saquon Barkley at Penn State. This is a guy who they said was just about as good as Saquon Barkley. And if you look, we're not that far off on the rankings right now. He's on Philadelphia. Philadelphia has been rumored to be bringing in a veteran running back. The guy that makes the most sense based on their wanting to bring in a veteran running back would be a Devonta Freeman who's out there, but he wants too much money, and from what I've heard, he's not signed with the Bucs yet either. There's a rumor flying around about that. Miles Sanders is Saquon Jr. He's the poor man Saquon Barkley. If you can't get a top 3 pick to get Saquon Barkley, and you're in the back end, and you definitely want a running back, go ahead and take Miles Sanders because you can get that wide receiver on the turn when it comes back if you're in a 10 or 12 team league. I like Miles Sanders a lot, especially in EPA.
Yeah, I like Miles Sanders too, but he has dipped on mine a little bit, and that is because of the situation at quarterback and kind of some question marks that I have with their wide receivers and their offense as a whole in Philadelphia. But my number 10 goes back to somebody that I never thought I would put in my top 10, and this is no disrespect to him. I never saw it happening. And because, as Mike stated before, when he put him in, he was another person, another forgotten man in Miami. Miami's kind of like the girl that you date before the girl that you marry. That's what Miami is. Like, you go to Miami, you date her, she's all right, and then you go somewhere else and you find the woman of your dreams and you marry her. Look at what happened to Kenyon Drake. Look at what happened to Ryan Tannehill. Okay, and not only did you marry her, you married into money, because Tannehill's making bank right now. So she was rich and beautiful and smart and kind and funny. She had it all. So Miami, Tua, change the world in Miami, please, Tua Tagovailoa. Let's make something happen here. Let's bring some of that Hawaii love to Miami. But my number 10's got to be Mr. Kenyon Drake. Never thought it would happen, but he ousted David Johnson, and he found a way to make it make it work. And, you know, I know that they have different options there, and I know that they probably brought in Kenyon Drake during the season and thought, you know, probably better than what we have. But did they expect it to be as good as it was? And I don't know if that's a thought that they had, but I'm happy. I'm banking on number 41. Kenyon Drake makes my top 10. Shout out to you, brother. Never, ever thought. Never thunk it, but it happened. We're going to take a quick step aside because we gave our top 10. We'll be back momentarily. Join Winning Fantasy Football, our Facebook page. That is where Facebook group, pardon me. Winning Fantasy Football on the Facebook. Type it into your search bar, Winning Fantasy Football, and join us there. This is brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We will be with you right after this fast break to say so much more about football and running backs. And I'm excited to see where Mike and I go with our next 10. That'll happen right after this.
Now that the weather has turned chilly, why not be a hero to your family and friends and treat them to some fresh, handmade ice cream from Carvel DeWitt? Whether it's our ice cream, novelties, or world-famous cakes, we make everything fresh by hand daily. Don't be fooled by the ice cream that you see in the grocery store that could be weeks or months old. Carvel DeWitt is the oldest Carvel in the country and prides itself on making the best, freshest ice cream every single day. Come on in and taste the fresh difference and be a hero to your family and friends. Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like.
Charney's Men's Clothing is your one-stop shop for your men's dress-up and dress-down wear. Located on 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse, Charney's Men's Clothing is proud to be your trusted name for decades in suits, sport coats, tuxedos, and all accessories. Charney's Men's Clothing also provides sports and leisure-themed casual wear for the everyday man. Stop in and see our welcome and friendly staff on 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We are hanging out inside of the Charney's Menswear and Tuxedo Studios, 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse, New York. So happy and proud for you to be here with us as we bring Mike Sofka back into the building. Bring Mike back into the room here as we are discussing our fantasy running back rankings. Those are the running back rankings, the people that run the ball. The ball is a pigskin. It is brown in color, and it is a beautiful thing that helps, hopefully your team get into the end zone and get some victories. Running back rankings 2020-2021 brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. We did our top 10. We are going to the next 10. Mike, number 11. What do you got?
Yeah, this is the situation. Now, I want to remind people, this is where you win your draft. So if you popped in here, got the top 10 and left, you're going to fall short this year. Don't do that to you.
Just tell the truth. If you don't watch our entire show, you lose at everything in life. Just say that. That's all you have to say.
Here's the deal. I like Austin Eckler. I thought Austin Eckler was a fine replacement for Melvin Gordon when he went down last year, or was out, I should say, last year. Look, Austin Eckler is going to feel some pressure, though. He's going to feel some pressure. Justin Jackson, he's going to feel some pressure because, well, they're going to rely on him more. Which quarterback are they going to have? Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert? Either they're going to rely on the running back. And what does Austin Eckler do well? He catches the ball out of the backfield well as well. A nice safety valve. I like that a lot. I like Austin Eckler. You can get him confidently in the second round this year unless somebody freaks out and takes him in the first round. I think Austin Eckler is a good pick.
Yeah, Austin Eckler, and I'll get to him in a little bit here. Mike and I are going to have some differences, and Austin is it's hard for me to go with Austin Eckler, but I'll get to that. You know, I think you know he's obviously one of those guys shorter in stature. It's worked for the Chargers in the past. You know, like a Sproles type of guy. I don't know if he's an every down back, and that's something that kind of, you know, is making him dip on my list a little bit. But my number 11, who I think is a great number 11, right outside of the top 10, if you could pick him up, is Chris Carson. And I think Chris Carson has a lot of upside still. He has the ability to catch the ball, and he has been somebody that the Seahawks have been leaning on, I think, more and more. Now, the Seahawks have tried to do different things. They've tried to bring in other people and find a way, but Chris Carson's the only one that has really lasted, and he was like number 4 on the depth chart when he came in. Nobody knew who he was, and now I think he's becoming more of a household name. I got a lot of respect for him, and so Mike is talking about, I'm smart? He's becoming a household name. What did I say that made me so smart? I'm so proud that Mike thinks I'm smart today. But I'm going with Chris Carson because I like him. I liked him a couple seasons ago. I think he has a lot to offer, and ultimately, you know, I do think that the Seahawks maybe, just maybe, and I'm saying this for the first time in 2 or 3 years, have a running game that I trust somewhat. So there you go. Who's number 12? What did you do with this? Where was I smart? I got to know before you say number 12.
You amaze me every time we talk, Dan. You amaze me. So I'm just going to leave it at that. You're a wonderful human being.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I hope that you meant that with sincerity and not sarcasm.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
All right.
Of course.
Okay.
Josh Jacobs, I put him almost at a tie with Austin Eckler. I struggled with this one a bit, and I'll get to Chris Carson a little bit later. I have him knocked down a little bit further, and I'll tell you why I did that. But Josh Jacobs, I like a lot. The only fear I have is Gruden's going to want to run gadget plays and jet sweeps with Henry Ruggs, fastest guy in the league, basically. So he's a Tyreek Hill type player, and look how they use Tyreek Hill. They use Tyreek Hill on those jet sweeps. They use him on handoffs on occasionally, on pitches, on tosses. I like Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to get enough volume to warrant being your number 1 running back. You can confidently get him in the second round. I got him at the number 12, almost an 11A behind Austin Eckler.
Yeah, for me, you know, I just and I could see that. You know, I could see Josh Jacobs. Obviously, I'm very much sold on him. I think it's one of the good decisions that John Gruden has made. Another good decision that he made was endorsing my show and doing an interview with me a few years ago. But in the middle of all of that, he got rid of Khalil Mack, and I have problems with that. But we'll talk about that another day because we're not talking about linebackers today. My number 12, this is so hard. You know, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like I want to say it, but should I say it? So I don't know. So, you know, this is so difficult.
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
My number 12, and he might only be my number 12 here for one more year. I really hope that it works out. I said that they did not have a franchise back since Fred Taylor, and the next time they were going to get one was Leonard Fournette, and he didn't disappoint me in his rookie season, but he has disappointed me in some ways, shapes, and forms since then. We need him to make it happen. Jay Gruden is in there as the new offensive coordinator. You got Ben McAdoo helping out the quarterbacks there. He's going to help out Gardner Minshew. We got talented running backs. They're young. They're vibrant. They're excited. This offense should be prolific. It should be fun. It should be workable. You got 3 guys that have experience as head coaches all on the same team. That's either going to blow up or it's going to be fantastic experience that's going to help out the team. So, and maybe it'll create some personality because, you know, Baloney and Cheese, Doug Marrone, we need a little bit more personality, a little bit more love, a little bit more rejuvenation. So, Leonard Fournette, let's hope that this is the rejuvenating year. Let's hope that you shock the world. Let's hope that you earn the contract that could be coming to you. And I really, really just want to see him shine. He's got a lot of talent. His LSU days are fantastic. I want to see some Jaguars days look like LSU days. So I'm going to pick Leonard Fournette with number 12. Mike, who do you have at lucky number 13?
Well, lucky number 13, I have Aaron Jones. And that he could turn unlucky for several reasons. Number one, I want you to realize a couple things here. Devontae Adams is that offense. If they throw the ball to Devontae Adams, they're doing what they want to do in Green Bay. And you could see that by the way they didn't draft another wide receiver. But they drafted another running back, which is dangerous for Aaron Jones. For a while there, you saw Jamal Williams cutting into the touches, and when Aaron Jones wasn't healthy, you know, they struggled to fill that role full time. So what do? They go out and get A.J. Dillon. I like this kid a lot. Is he going to be able to get on the field? How much is that going to impact Aaron Jones' numbers? If Devontae Adams gets injured, trade for Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones is number 13. He has the potential to be higher than that, but he has a much lower floor than a lot of other running backs. And what I mean by that is the situation is uncritical. He's been known to get injured, and he has a situation where he has a rookie running back breathing down his neck. I tread lightly on this one, but I like Aaron Jones at number 13.
Yeah, Aaron Jones has dipped in my list substantially, and that is because, as people have known, I am not a fan of Green Bay's Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones. I tried out, I believe, both of them on my team, and they did not make the final cut. I, as the Simon Cowell of this, did not think that they should be singing in the next round. They were my Sanjaya for the last 2 years, and that's not a compliment. So, my number 13 is going, my lucky number 13 goes to, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I'm giving that to him. This is my rookie. It's the first rookie running back that was drafted in this year's NFL draft, and he was the only running back in the first round. Clyde Edwards-Helaire joins a Super Bowl team. He joins a fantastic, arguably, potentially, numbers-wise, if he continues, maybe the best statistical quarterback, maybe the best quarterback in our history, a guy who could be running toward the Hall of Fame in Pat Mahomes. And you have Tyreek Hill, and you got Sammy Watkins. And, of course, you have Travis Kelce. This is a good team, and they have the defense to do it as well. Kansas City should be pushing Baltimore for a right to return to the Super Bowl. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire gives someone who already has all the talent in the world another weapon. And God forbid Pat Mahomes, instead of him having to run around, just goes, oh, I got this guy now. You know, I don't have to trust in 4 different guys. Oh, there you go, Clyde. Do your thing, man. So I like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire's there, and I think we're going to have some fun with it this year. And if he dips to me, I'm going to be like this. I'm gonna mile high salute you. And you know if Kansas City's doing that, there's some disrespect to Denver. But I'm feeling Clyde Edwards-Helaire at number 13. What do you have at number 14, Mike?
Yeah, this is a boom or bust type pick here. Todd Gurley.
Wow.
There's a reason. There's a reason in Atlanta.
Yeah.
The reason is they didn't want to pay Devontae Freeman, and they were able to get him at a little bit of a discount because of his downgrade, just like David Johnson the past couple of years. Look, if they can catch lightning in a bottle, if this is a rejuvenation, if he's found the fountain of youth, if he's found the fountain of injury free, if he's found the fountain of my knee does not hurt, I'm 100% fine. This is a guy you can trust and count on. This is a boom or bust play, though, in Todd Gurley in Atlanta.
Yeah, Todd Gurley did make my list somewhere here in the top 20. I won't tell you where yet, but he did make it, and that is because Devontae Freeman's not there and Tevin Coleman's not there. If there was somebody else there that I thought could take his job away, then
Ryan Hill. These aren't household names?
Not yet. But Kadri Allison is somebody that was at Pittsburgh, and he could very well do it if things don't work out in this case. But I mean, this is a moment where we really have to see, what is it going to be? What Todd Gurley are we getting at this point in time? So, it'll be interesting to see where he shakes out. But that is your number 14, Mike, and my number 14 is going to go to a different player That will go to Miles Sanders, who you had just a little bit ago. And Miles Sanders dipped here for me because I think that he is talented, but he may be in the wrong offense. He may be on the wrong team. What I mean by that, I like Doug Peterson and I respect Doug Peterson. I'm just not sold on everything that's happening in Philadelphia right now. As we've talked about, Philadelphia bores me right now. I want them to unbore me. I want them to excite me. Give me something to watch. Miles Sanders deserves better. So if he was on a different team right now, he would probably be high. If he was on Atlanta, he'd zoom up that list because they have the talent and he's not Todd Gurley, which is a good thing going for him right now. So I like you, Miles, but I got to put you at number 14 only because of the fact that I'm not completely sold on the Eagles this season offensively. Mike, who do you got for number 15?
Yeah, number 15 is the guy you had ranked a little bit higher here, Leonard Fournette. I ranked him this low because of that change in offensive coordinator. I think he can have a good year. I think if you're in a touchdown-only league, this might be a guy you rank a little higher. He proved that he can go out and catch the ball last year. We knew that at LSU, but that was gone the couple years of his tenure in Jacksonville. But you got to give Leonard Fournette the benefit of the doubt. I thought he came back and made a statement last year that he's not just a one-dimensional back and he can catch the ball. I look for him to get some additional balls thrown his way again this year. It's just in that Jay Gruden offense and the weapons they have in Jacksonville at receiver, DJ Chark, D.D. Westbrook. They go out and they get Laviska Shenault. I mean, they brought in who they bring in? Tyler Eifert, that's right, at tight end. So if he can stay healthy, there's a lot of names. There's a lot of places to spread the ball around. Leonard Fournette should get his share. He's number 15 on my rankings.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette. I put him in my my top 15. I think he has a place there, but this is a prove it to me year. And if he proves it like Austin Hooper did, well, then he'll get traded to the Browns. But, I mean, Austin Hooper proved it. And Atlanta still didn't keep him, which I haven't understood some of Atlanta's deal lately, and that's one of the things. But hopefully Leonard Fournette can do this, and there's a reason why Mike and I have him here. This is a guy that probably, arguably, Mike, I think we can agree, should have been in the top 4, if not the top 6, if he had done the things that he needed to do, and if this team had excelled offensively and he wasn't such a potential problem off the field. I know that's a lot of ifs, but, Leonard Fournette was supposed to be more than what he has been to this team so far. And hopefully things will excel and we'll get somewhere with Leonard Fournette as we step forward, because I know that fantasy owners need it. And as somebody who has been a Jaguars fan since 1995, I need something to make me smile. Because Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell, Mark Brunell, it happened such a long time ago. And I need something now. It's like, give me something good on TV. Don't make me just have to watch my shows on Netflix. So, with that, even though I love Netflix, shout out to you, Netflix. You're great. Austin Eckler's my number 15. That's my segue. It's got nothing to do with Netflix, but he's fun to watch, so maybe it does. So, Austin Eckler, you make it here because I don't trust you to be an every down back, but I do think that you have the opportunity to be explosive, and I agree with Mike that you're in a situation where your quarterback is not a sure thing, and when your quarterback is not a sure thing, just like Joe Mixon, you're going to have to trust in your running back a little bit more, and Austin Eckler has those moments where he can catch out of the backfield, and once he's in the open field, he scampers like a Sproles, and I like it. So, he's my number 15. Mike, who makes 16 on your list?
I like this move a lot for Denver. They brought in Melvin Gordon. I thought, wow, that's huge. What does that say? That says Royce Freeman is that train has left the station. That dog don't hunt. However you want to face it, Royce Freeman is not the guy of the future there, okay? Melvin Gordon, and don't forget Phillip Lindsay. Now, I think what they did was they looked at that situation and said, are we comfortable with only Phillip Lindsay? And no, they weren't. And not in today's NFL. You got to have that two back. You got to have that 1-2 combo. You got to have that guy to give a breather, to give you a different look, to give you a situation where you can get to the next level. Melvin Gordon is a boomer bust type play here as well. I like him at 16. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I like Drew Lockett a lot this year. They add the receivers that they have. Yeah. Oh, my God. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. I like KJ Hamler a lot out of the this opens things up for Melvin Gordon. I think he's going to be a touchdown machine as well. Or a touchdown-only league, you're going to put him up a few ticks. But Melvin Gordon fits comfortably at number 16 on my rankings.
It feels like it's been forever, Mike, and it wasn't like this last week, but we finally agree again. Number 16 for me is Melvin Gordon as well, and I love the gif of him looking over his shoulder. Like, damn right, guys, you better agree on this thing. Put me in your top 20. I agree with you on Melvin Gordon at number 16. He is a talented back. He is an explosive back. At times, he was a top 4, top 5 type of back. This is a guy that you expected to be a 1,000-yard back and to get out there and do what he needed to do. He's in an offense with Drew Lock is going to have to trust in him a little bit, and you have really good receivers who are explosive. It doesn't matter how young Cortland Sutton is in the game, and it doesn't matter that Jerry Jeudy is a rookie. This team has the opportunity to excel. This should be one of the moments where people stop hating on John Elway and say, you know what? Some good decisions have been made. I like Melvin Gordon here, and he's going to make the Chargers pay a little bit. And I look forward to seeing Mr. Gordon go up against Mr. Eckler and see what that happens fantasy week-wise, because that's going to happen twice this season. Number 17. I can't believe that my guy fell to 17 that I'm going to announce, but before I do that, Mike, who's your number 17?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chris Carson here. I like Chris Carson a lot. I've been high on him for the past couple years. He's done me well in some dynasty leagues and some other deep leagues. But this is a guy who's been injury prone as well. This is the guy, what's going on over there? This is the guy, Chris Carson, that you can rely on most of the year. Now, provided he stays healthy, you'll be fine. They, of course, do have Travis Homer. They do have DJ Dallas. They just brought in. They also have Carlos Hyde. I don't think Rashad Penny is somebody to be messed with. I don't think he's going to impact. I think he's still got injury problems as well to start the year. So with that in mind, I go with Chris Carson, but very lightly, tread lightly here. Make sure you back that up with whoever is in that number 2 position there. Make sure you handcuff him. Make sure you have other running back options. He's a boomer bust type play as well. Chris Carson, number 17 on my rankings.
Yeah, my guy that made number 17 for me is somebody who filled in very well when he needed to, and he showed that he was better than a third-round pick. He has already overcome injuries. He's overcome cancer. He told his coach, who I know, Pat Narduzzi, he walked right up to him and said, "Coach, I got to go fight this cancer. I'll be back here next year." And he was. And he had the benefit of his team in college, the Pitt Panthers, practicing in the same facility as the Pitt Steelers. So they got to see him all the way through, and they kept him in Pittsburgh. James Conner, you have been explosive. You have saved my butt. You have been electric and fun to watch. But last season, with Devlin Hodges and Mason Rudolph and all of the not good stuff that happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was kind of a downturn. But Juju Smith-Schuster, there was that thought that maybe he would be traded away, and he's there. Big Ben's coming back. He's shaven and ready to go, wants to throw to his receivers. I'm hoping that this offensive line that's been able to hold and keep people safe, I'm hoping this offensive line and the return of Big Ben with Juju is going to help out James Conner move forward. They have like 4 running backs in Pittsburgh right now, but James Conner's got to show that he's the guy that needs to get the carries. So I am going to lean on him a little bit, saying that he is talented, and if he doesn't back down to cancer, he is not going to back down to competition. So James Conner, you make my number 17. Mike, what do you have for number 18 on the list?
Geez, it doesn't seem like very long ago. This guy was always one of the top couple players taken in your draft, and that's Le'Veon Bell from the Jets. I think the tentative relationship or weird dynamic he has in New York where they brought him in, then they changed the coach, and the coach was like, yeah, we don't need him. We don't want him. And, Adam Gase is a guy who's got his idea of a running back, and I get it. But I would think that Bell would somehow figure out in your plans, Adam Gase. This is a guy who I don't think has been on the downside of his career yet. I don't think he's on the backside. I think mentally or wherever his mind or was, look at that situation that came out of Pittsburgh when Antonio Brown, now where is he? And Le'Veon Bell, now we're having question marks. These guys were Pro Bowl players on the Steelers.
Yeah.
Look for him to try to recapture some of that, but I'm not sure that the Jets have that focus with him. I'm not sure they believe in that. They took a 4th-round pick on Michael Perrine, who I like a lot. He's a sleeper kind of guy. Take late in the redrafts, definitely draft him in Dynasty. And then they brought in the old man, it's Frank Gore, 155 years old. They're going to give him some touches and some touchdown looks as well. So hopefully Bell gets hot if he does get hot, he's going to have a good year. But right now, I've got him optimistically ranked at number 18.
Yeah, I mean, Le'Veon Bell, I mean, it's funny how the Steelers say, you know what, enough's enough. They had arguably the number one wide receiver and the number one running back in the nation in Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Antonio Brown's not in the NFL. Le'Veon Bell is a question mark. So, obviously Pittsburgh was smarter, and I said on the show, we're going to find out if they really are a head case and what it really means. And Antonio Brown, God be with him. I mean, man was on like 4 different teams with everything that happened, from Pittsburgh and on and on and on. Never played it down for the Raiders. So my hope is that it gets better for you. My number 18 is Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley has the opportunity to rise up this list. This is a prove it to me year. He knows he's in Atlanta. He knows he's not in LA anymore. He went from being on the sidelines of the Super Bowl and the coach saying, Sean McVay saying he's healthy but not playing him in one of the worst offensive Super Bowls in the history of mankind, and a one that it looked like the Rams would have easily won if Todd Gurley was out there. Well, now he's an Atlanta Falcon. So the hope is that he can get it done and he can figure it out and finally show some life. Devontae Freeman has been somewhat of a bust in recent history. Tevin Coleman, he moved on. So now this is the time for Todd Gurley to shine. I hope that he does. I hope that he makes it work. But this is a big question mark here. This is why I put him down at number 18. But my hope is that he will figure it out and find his way back. And so with that being said, Mike, who do you have for number 19?
Yeah, number 19 is going to be a guy that you're going to take on a gamble. If you like rolling the dice, if you like taking chances, let's say you go wide receiver with your first pick. Let's say, 8 out of the 12 hole, you end up getting Michael Thomas, and you're like, yeah, that's the way I want to put my team. Then you come back. If you're a Vegas kind of guy, if you bet on the games, bet on David Johnson. He's a long shot. It's always more fun when a long shot comes in. But if he can get or capture what Carlos Hyde used to have in Houston, he's going to be great. I think Houston set themselves up for either success or failure this year based on David Johnson's performance. Why would you get rid of DeAndre Hopkins and then bring in Cooks? That's not a replacement. Right, you've been struggling with the running game for years. Hopefully David Johnson is that lightning in the bottle. But I question that Cliff Kingsbury seems to give up on you. What does that say? It's almost like he's been hesitant, hitting the holes, or lost his nerve, if you would. So I hate to say that about a player, but that's the way it looked to me on what I've seen. And going back and looking at last year's performance, David Johnson, boomer bust play, high gamble, but I like him at that high gamble at number 19.
Yeah, my number 19 is one that you just had to pick a go, and that's Le'Veon Bell. And that is because of his talent. That, he's on this Jets team that needs to improve, and we need to see improvement from, obviously, Sam Darnold and Adam Gase. I wasn't sold on him being the head coach there, but he is, and for whatever reason, that's what they've leaned on at this point. Do I think that it's necessarily going to work? I would bank on no. But do I think Le'Veon Bell can have himself a good season? I would think that, he has to be a saving grace. And if he wants to be signed somewhere long-term and really have longevity in the NFL from here, he's going to have to show something to the NFL. He's auditioning not for the Jets. He's auditioning for all 32 franchises this year. He has talent. He has ability. We know he can catch the ball. He should be in your top 20. He is a steal at number 19 or number 18, wherever you were to get him in the grand scheme of things. But he still has to prove it. And does he have enough aid on the Jets to do this? And can he show that being on a line that's not as good as the line he had in Pittsburgh, can he still be dynamic? Can he still be a threat not having that? And if Sam Darnold sees ghosts again, can Le'Veon Bell send out one of those traps from the Ghostbusters and catch the ghost so that Sam Darnold can continue to play the game? Number 20, Mike, who do you have?
Yeah, number 20 is the guy you had a few minutes ago, and I can see this. He's a boom or bust type player again, James Conner. His performance was almost laughable last year simply because of the fact they could load 9-10 guys in the box when Duck Hodges is your quarterback. Roethlisberger's back. They got a good wide receiver core, but they also have a crowded backfield. I like Jess Samuels on as a third down. I'm surprised we're not Snell. What did they do? They go out and get another boomer bust type guy and Anthony McFarland. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. you could probably steal him because I think a lot of people are going to downgrade him based on everybody loading a box on him last year, looking at those numbers alone. So you could steal him as my number 20.
That's why you can't look at strictly numbers, because you're not taking into account rookies and you're not taking into account situations. So you have to really think about that in the grand scheme of things. My number 20 is going to be, and this is where it gets dicey and difficult, and you really got to think about it, because I think there's a lot of steals that are going to happen here. There's a lot of names that I'm looking at right now that we didn't pick yet. But my number 20, it's hard because there's another guy in the backfield that has some pretty good numbers there. And this man is a rookie. But if he can translate from Wisconsin and do some of the things he did in Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor, who gets to play half his season in a dome, is going to be my number 20. My little sneaky pick, my little sleeper 20, but he's my number 20 pick, and he's my pick there because of what he brings to the table. Because Marlon Mack hasn't been someone that they've been able to lean on every single game. So Marlon Mack, to me, I think really has to show me something. I'm very happy to have covered him at South Florida. I think he's got a lot of talent. But Jonathan Taylor, to me, you don't draft this guy if you don't want to put him out there right away. And so I think Jonathan Taylor gets an opportunity to shake things up a little bit. And because of the division he's in, I think that he might be in really good shape to make this happen. So Jonathan Taylor, you make my list as my second rookie to get it done. So congratulations to you. Mike and I will take one final step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Charney's Menswear and Tuxedo Studios. You are watching our fantasy running back rankings brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub. Winning Fantasy Football is the group to join. It is on Facebook. Join our group right now. Do it in this moment. Don't wait. Why are you waiting? What are you doing? Join it right now. We're going to take this step aside and come back, and we will rapid fire off our final thoughts on our fantasy rankings here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Charney's Men's Clothing is your one-stop shop for your men's dress up and dress down wear. Located on 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse, Charney's Men's Clothing is proud to be your trusted name for decades in suits, sport coats, tuxedos, and all accessories. Charney's Men's Clothing also provides sports and leisure-themed casual wear for the everyday man. Stop in and see our welcome and friendly staff on 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you download their app and get in touch with them in such an easy way, especially with everything going on with coronavirus. You can download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store, and it has their entire menu, very user-friendly and easy to navigate through, and contactless pay is right there. You can pay right on the app, you can tip on the app, and then drive right up to their drive-up window and pick up your food, and you can also dine in now that we are opening things up in New York. So head out to the Millhouse Market. Perfect place to go to. You will not find their flavors anywhere else. Their homemade recipes, their homemade breads, their homemade everything, desserts, dressings, the pizza that they make there, the ideas that they have are from the mind of Rebecca Alford, and she is a genius when it comes to your taste buds. Head out to the Millhouse Market. Worth the drive every time on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. With that being said, we're coming back here for our final portion of today's fantasy ranker. And in today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we are ranking fantasy football running backs for the 2020-2021 season. We're heading to the backfield, and we did our top 10. We did our next 10, which brought us to our top 20. And now Mike and I will be giving you our last pieces here inside of our ranker. So with that being said, that is actually, to connect to our last show, that is what Buffalo Bill looked like right before he put the lotion in the basket. He gets you. So with that being said, fantasy football running backs, we've done our top 20. We're at number 21. That is your boy's favorite number. So you should join our fantasy football group on Facebook, Winning Fantasy Football, and you should tell us your favorite player, your favorite number, your favorite whatever. So maybe even your favorite cheesecake, because we'll talk about that too. Join us on Winning Fantasy Football. That group is open for you today, and we are open inside of the Charney's Menswear and Tuxedo Studios. Mike, 21, what do we got?
Yeah, this is what you mentioned him before. I like him a lot. He's my top rookie running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There's a couple reasons why I have him at 21 and not higher. And number one is there's a lot of weapons in Kansas City. Travis Kelce, Damian Williams. I mean, well, let's not forget the guy that's supposed to be the guy to take over the Brian Westbrook in the future, Darwin Thompson. What did they do? They doubled down. They went out and got another Brian Westbrook type in Edwards-Helaire. He can do it all. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. Comes from a pro-style offense. Should be able. There's not going to be a study curve or a mental curve. It's going to be to give him the ball, let him see. Let's see what he can do. It's just a question of can he make the most of those opportunities early. There's a lot of names. They got to share the ball. They got to get the ball to a Tyreek Hill, a Sammy Watkins, a Mecole Hardman. I mentioned Travis Kelce before and those other running backs, but I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the top rookie running back at number 21 on my rankings.
Yeah, my number 21, and again, this is where things get dicey and things get really tough. And so you have to look at teams, you have to look at talent. What do they have in the backfield? Who do they have at quarterback? What's their quarterback situation? Do they have a lot of wide receivers? As Mike brought up, so many different things. So I am going to, at this pick, which was not an easy one for me to make by any stretch of the imagination. There's two guys I'm thinking about. They were both rookies last year, and it was between David Montgomery of Chicago and Devin Singletary of Buffalo. And because the offense is just a little more snazzy, and I also like the fact that Frank Gore's not there anymore, I'm giving it to Devin Singletary. Number 21, look at that Buffalo, my favorite number, connecting to upstate New York, to the Buffalo Bills. All my Bills fans out there got to be like, hi, so you should be happy with me. I'm going to go with Devin Singletary at number 21. I think he has more upside right now than David Montgomery, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I know that they brought in another running back. I know Zach Moss is there, so I know that that's kind of but Devin Singletary, I think he's got a lot of talent, and I really like the Josh Allen-led offense. And mind you, Tom Brady is not a Patriot anymore until he can figure out how to be in two places at once, which I'm sure Bill Belichick's black magic will figure that out at some point. He's not there right now, and so in the moment, Devin Singletary is a fun running back for me to pick at number 21. Who do you have at 22, Mike?
Yeah, number 22 is it. We're real close there, Devin Singletary. Look, I think he's got what it takes to be a lead back. I think he has what it takes to get the job done. I know he brought in Zach Moss, but Zach Moss is the guy you got to worry about. The guy you got to worry about is Stephon Diggs. They're going to make a concentrated effort to get him the ball as the number one. John Brown, he's effective sometimes. Cole Beasley in the slot. That's it, though. Dawson Knox hasn't shown up yet. Tyler Kroft, I don't know if he's going to be healthy, and I don't know if he's going to want to play. He's a second tight end. I think if they lean on Devin Singletary too much, that would implode. So if they give him the right amount of touches, if they're able to carry the rock, be the lead back, but they don't have to rely on him to be the whole team, which they won't with Diggs, I think you're going to be all right. And I fit him confidently at number 20. I'm sorry, number 22.
Yeah, so I mean, I can definitely see that, and like you said, very close on those picks between the two of us. My number 22 is going to go to, and again, I told you how close David Montgomery was in this situation. So at number 22, that's where I'm going to go, and that is because their quarterback situation is up in the air. So what are you going to do in emergency? I would hope that you're going to hand it off to your running back. Chicago has not been smart when it comes to offense in the last 2 to 3 years. Their defense has gotten better, and I would venture to say that if their offense had followed suit with their defense, we could be talking about a team that would be in better shape. Could be a 10-win team. Could be a team that's going to the playoffs. But as of right now, they got some work to do, and David Montgomery is somebody that I think is going to help them get that work done. I'm excited about his upside. I don't like his offense, but I know that they need him. So David Montgomery, let's see what you got. Let's make it happen. You almost made it to 21, but you made it to 22, and that is where I'm going to put him. Montgomery, talented back, and doesn't have too much to worry about in the backfield right now, in my opinion, in Chicago. And it may be the only good thing on their offense right now. Who do you have at 23?
Yeah, this is almost a boom or bust type play, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I've given him the benefit of the doubt over the years, and it's worked out, and that's Mark Ingram. Oh, Mike, they just drafted J.K. Dobbins. I know. He's a good running back, too, for you. You could still count on Mark Ingram with running back one production. Now, that's his ceiling. But his floor is high as well. So what I mean is you can confidently take Mark Ingram to be your RB2, RB3, and possibly get you RB1 type numbers.
Yeah.
They run the ball in Baltimore. That whole offense is super effective right now. They can throw the ball deep. Look for them to throw the ball more. And that's where they're going to take advantage with Mark Ingram. And he's going to be able to fight off J.K. Dobbins, I think. And he's going to be the guy, the lead back in a crowded backfield. I like Mark Ingram at number 23.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Mark Ingram as well, and I think, this man wears the Baltimore jersey well. I'm excited about what he could do. I love the GIF I just put up where he says, "Come see me about that," because Mike and I are agreeing that at number 23 it is Mark Ingram, because he can give you them butter numbers as your number 3 option. Really? Number 3 Mark Ingram, but a number 1 guy in Baltimore? That's good stuff. Lamar Jackson's the best running back that they have there, and he's also a pretty damn good quarterback, as I told y'all a little bit ago. But Mark Ingram, I love it. I think it's awesome. J.K. Dobbins, I'm excited about that too. I think if you get any of that Baltimore look, you're going to be sitting pretty. Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, Lamar Jackson. You're going to be proud of yourself. Marquise Hollywood Brown. There's some really, really good talent on what could be the league's most explosive offense this year. 24, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, this is another separation here. This is another situation where you're probably, before you go with this pick here, you're going to go other places. You're going to look for a wide receiver. You may even look for a quarterback at this point, but some people do. I like Raheem Mostert. I think he's going to be the shining jewel out of that San Fran backfield. Well, Mike, they got Jarrett McKinnon, and he was brought in to be the starter, and he was injured all year. And they have Tevin Coleman, who's been a solid number 2. That's what it is. The explosive back, the between the tackles back, the lead back at it is committee. That's who I'm talking about, Raheem Mostert. He can catch the ball as well. I like Raheem Mostert right there at number 24.
Yeah, and when we look at the fact that there's 32 franchises, it makes sense to put him in this place, Mike. And I don't, he was a very difficult place for a pick for me to place, because there's other rookie guys that I like, right? Swift is still out there, Akers is still out there, and arguably, Akers especially going to take over that job. There's other people we could have shifted in here, but Raheem, I'm going to agree with you on this, because I'm not a Jerick McKinnon fan. I never drafted him, and then I did, and then he tore his ACL, and I learned my lesson. And then Matt Breida, so it's just, you did too. So, it's one of those things where you just can't. Raheem Mostert is one of those guys that you didn't expect. He kind of was in obscurity, and people didn't know who he was. Now he's on an offense that has Jimmy Garoppolo. We've seen healthy Jimmy Garoppolo do what he does. So I think Raheem, either at 24 or 25, would have made sense to me. But I'm going to agree with you on this, because I didn't want to put one of these rookies above him at this spot. So I'm going to stick with him there in this situation. Who do you have for number 25? Who do you have for number 25, Mr. Mike? Can you hear us? Did we lose Mike here? Oh, there he is. Now,
you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Who do you have for number 25?
You can hear me.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I'm in a space shuttle. Yes, I can hear you.
All
Can
right.
you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. 25. One word. Who's on first, Mike? Who's on first? That's what MLB and MLBPA. Go ahead.
Number 25 is the guy. What are we doing here, Facebook? Come on, Facebook. Work with me here.
Here. This
You
is.
got me?
I got you, but you're a little bit fuzzy. I'm going to unfuzzy you. Give me 1 second. We're going to unfuzzy
right.
Mr. Mike Sofka. Give us 1 moment here to unfuzzy him. Facebook always does this to Mike right at the end. It's like his final point. It's the last thing he's going to say, and Facebook just won't let him get the damn words out. So we're going to right his ship right here. We're going to get him back on. So let's bring Mike back in to the Charney's Menswear and Tuxedo Studios here on 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse, New York. Let's bring Mike in and let's see how pretty Mike is right now. There he is. He's still fuzzy. Facebook's still fuzzing you out, but we're going to make sure that that they can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
What?
I am on the space station. Can you hear me?
They always try to cut you off in the last 5 minutes of the show. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's a conspiracy, and I'm against it wholeheartedly. So, maybe it's the people that are eating all the chocolate chip cookies at Wegmans. Number 25, Mike, who do you have?
Number 25 is Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
Looks solid offensive line. He could be the rookie of the year behind that offensive line, arguably the best offensive line in the country. But here's the thing. You got other guys there. You got Marlon Mack. You got Nyheim Hines. You got Jordan Wilkins. But you also have some passing options. And you got a quarterback who has something to prove with that passing game in his mind.
Yeah.
He hasn't given up on himself, even though he's getting long in the tooth and Phillip Rivers. I think they're going to be more pass happy, but how can you not give up to this? The reason he moves the ball on occasion is because they're going to mix it up with a Marlon Mack, especially with a Nyheim Hines, with a Jordan Wilkins. I like Jonathan. I like him a lot. I like him at number 25 and possibly the rookie of the year.
Yeah, you know, Jonathan Taylor, as I had him higher on my list here, I like him too. And I think that there's a lot that he could bring to the table, a lot of good things that he could do. My number 25 might shock some people, but I'm for shock and awe. That's why I'm here. I want to be shockingly awesome, not shockingly awful, though. I do want to do that. So my number 25 is going to go to somebody that I covered in college, and I expected more out of him. He had his best games when he played Syracuse. That's for sure. And that's Cam Akers coming from Florida State and going to play for the Rams. He is a rookie. He is my third rookie that's made my top 30, but he makes my top 30 because there's no Todd Gurley, and Darrell Henderson is not somebody that they've trusted in, who's a guy that I really like out of Memphis. I'd like to see, Akers in there and have Darrell Henderson be there as your third down back, but as of right now, Cam Akers, I think he's going to go in and take this job right away. I got him at number 25 because he's explosive. He could do a lot of good things, and I don't think we saw anywhere near what maybe I expected out of him or hoped out of him consistently when he was a member of the Florida State Seminoles. And so I'm looking forward to what he could do with the Rams, and I think that he's one of those players that's really, I think he's one of those guys that, we've talked about in the last couple of years, comes through and they just kind of shock you. And, you look at Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders, he could be one of those guys that just is electrifying. And, I think that's why he makes my top 25. I also realized that I said he could be one of those guys more times in that sentence than I've said probably in a lifetime. 26, Mike, let's go with it. What do you got?
I like David Montgomery. I think he's a solid performer. I think he's on a team that needs to run the ball. Who's going to be the quarterback, Trubisky or Foles? There's question marks there. They do have talent at receiver. They did bring in some talent, both veteran-wise, Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. They're going to spread the ball around, but they're going to be led by the rushing attack, so you can confidently take David Montgomery as the RB2, RB3, maybe a flex kind of guy. David Montgomery fits nicely in my rankings here at 26.
Yeah, I'm going to go with another David and one that you mentioned. I'm going to go with David Johnson here. He's going to make my top 30, but I told you I'm really not sold on people that have come through the Texans lately at the running back position. Has not been a place where I really feel like we've been able to lean on anybody, but I'm going to go with I'm going to go with David Johnson at number 26 for me, and I think, he makes my top 30 because of the fact that he has to be the guy there. He has to be the option, and there's a reason why they traded for that. This could be a big-time bust. Right now I'm leaning on the side that it really genuinely could be. But I'm hoping that David Johnson will have some life on a team that has some more talent, and hopefully being around Deshaun Watson is going to be able to help him move forward a little bit better. So with that being said, Mike, who's number 27?
27, I like Cam Akers. You mentioned him before. I think this is a great pick. I think it fits in nicely. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. Here's the situation. I thought Darrell Henderson was the guy. I thought he was going to be the guy of the future. Malcolm Brown, John Kelly, all these guys had promise coming in. So that's why I'm kind of, for my expectations. They got receivers there. They like to throw the ball to the tight end. Jared Goff is on that team for them. I like Cam Akers and no.
Yeah, Cam Akers, like you said, somebody that I just put on my list and had to be there just a little bit before you, Mike, on this one. My number 26 after David Johnson is where you really try to kind of scour through this and find somebody that makes a lot of sense. And for me, this is tough, but I'm going to jump into putting another guy into my top 30 from the Cleveland Browns, and that's because I think he's going to be utilized a lot, and that's Kareem Hunt. So Kareem Hunt is going to be my second Brown to make this list, and he makes the list because he is worthy of being a number one guy. We do know that just a couple seasons ago, he was on a team that we thought was going to make the Super Bowl the year before they did make the Super Bowl. So at this point, for me, I think it makes sense to put Kareem Hunt here. I think he has the talent to do this, and I think he has the capability to be in this situation. And I think that Nick Chubb dropped on my list a little bit because Kareem Hunt is going to be utilized. And I think he's a home run type of play. So I think, a year under his belt, so hopefully more healthy, Kareem Hunt's going to be at number 27 for me. Who do you have at 28?
Yeah, 28 is definitely the guy you just spoke of, Kareem Hunt. He's going to get his touches. He's too explosive of a talent. He can break one on any given play. Anytime he touches the ball, he can score a touchdown. This is a guy who has speed. He has agility. He can hit the holes between the tackles. He can bust it outside. I've always liked Kareem Hunt. It's a shame he's had some, checkerboard things happen to him off the field that have affected his ability to get on the field. But it is what it is. They got offense, and Cleveland had a way to move the ball if they would just do it. And it all starts with Baker Mayfield. So I think Baker Mayfield's performance is directly going to impact Kareem Hunt. But I do like Kareem Hunt right here at 28.
Yeah, so I mean, and obviously that makes a lot of sense to put him in that situation. We had him very close there. That Kareem Hunt was going to be in the top 30 as another Brown that was going to join the group here. My number 28 is, and this is, there's certain teams that we haven't even touched on yet, but my number 28 is going to go. It's between the two guys that are going to split the time on this team, and I'm gonna lean a little bit more on Kerryon because he's coming back. I like DeAndre Swift a lot. So you know what? I'm in the moment. I got to do this. I got to follow my gut because I know I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to be pissed. I'm going DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift's going to take over the starting job. I can't do this to myself because I'm going to get really mad. So I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. I knew I was going with the Detroit Lions, but Kerryon, I can't do it. It's got to be DeAndre. And I get that sense, and I've known it for 17 years as a broadcaster. When you say it and you feel that like, oh, I'm not going to want to watch this video in a couple months unless I say it the other way, DeAndre Swift is going to be my guy. So that's my official number 28. Mike, who's your number 29 as we'll squeak through really quick here with these last couple.
Hey, I like DeAndre Swift. I like him at 29. I think Kerryon Johnson's too injury prone. He's proven it the past couple of years. I think DeAndre Swift is the type guy he could get on the field and not come off the field, and that's a danger for Kerryon Johnson. So tread lightly on Kerryon Johnson. Look at it to be more of a committee-type situation between the two, Johnson and Swift. I think they're going to be able to get it done together and figure it out. But they got some weapons. They can throw the ball. They can throw the ball to Galloway. Look for T.J. Hawkinson to step up. And hopefully Matt Stafford is still going to put on a stellar performance. And that's why I got DeAndre Swift right here at 29.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift's got to be – he's got to be there at 28, 29. I'm happy that I listened to myself finally. My number 29 is going to have to go to and he's just going to squeak into my list, and that's going to be Sony Michel. I think they're going to really have to I would like to think that they're going to utilize him and have to lean on him a little bit with Jared Stidham. I mean, Lord knows he's going to be some dynamic quarterback because that's what Bill Belichick does. But Sony Michel, just like he squeaked into the bottom of the first round when they drafted him, Sony Michel is going to make my 29. Who makes your 30, Mike, as we round this out for the day?
Yeah, 30 is Darius Geis. I look for him to finally get on the field and make something happen here. 2 knee injuries. You know, and they got the loaded backfield. They got a loaded backfield in Washington. Is the old man Peterson going to make the roster? Peyton Barber, J.D. McKissick. What are they doing in Washington? They got names. They got a lot of names, but I don't see a lot of performance. Is Bryce Love going to break through finally after his injury that he's had? So tread lightly here, but I like Darius Geis enough as an athlete where I think he can make an impact this year and finally get some play, finally get you some points at number 30, Darius Geis.
Yeah, this one is, I mean, you could start looking and scouring through and saying, okay, maybe I put this guy in who's a second option, or maybe I put this team's second option in. What do I do? You know, I'm gonna agree with you on this one and say Darius Geis, because, I mean, he's coming from LSU. He's extremely talented. He should have an opportunity. There's a lot of LSU backs that we have mentioned in here, including Leonard Fournette. But Darius Geis, this is boom or bust. And you have Ron Rivera that's going to be helping you out right now. So I'm hoping that Ron Rivera is going to make some good decisions. And we were talking about a recent coach of the year that Carolina somehow let go of. I think it would have been great for Teddy Bridgewater to learn from Ron Rivera. But now he's in Washington. Geis has a chance. Chris Thompson is not there anymore, which boosts Darius. Basically, the only thing holding Geis back is him staying healthy and the offense moving in the right direction. So hopefully this will happen, but I'm going to agree with you on Geis, because Marlon Mack and some other guys that were sitting right there, I think we have to look at Washington, and we have to look at the fact that they're going to have to lean on Darius Geis, because Haskins and Kyle Allen, we don't know who's going to be the guy. That's our top 30, but Mike and I have more, and this is the benefit to you. Because we have more notes, if you go to wakeupcalldt.com later today, because I'll have Mike send it off to me, we're going to have more than our top 30 listed. So you got this great video, and then you got something else to come back for. Mike, as always, I appreciate you. I'm happy we got 30 in. That's awesome to do, and I know that we'll have plenty more. Don't be sending me 80, because I don't have 80, but I got some more. So that coming from Mike Sofka. Join us on Winning Fantasy Football Facebook group. It's free, it's easy, and it's right here on Facebook. Mike, as always, Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. I appreciate you, brother. I'm sending my love to you. Cannot wait to draft with you. And hopefully that good news will come up very soon. But appreciate you as always. I hope you have a good day.
All right, Dan. Thanks. Talk to you next time.
All right, take care. That coming from Mr. Mike Sofka one more time of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, and both of us of me of WakeUpCallDT.com, of course, and the both of us of Winning Fantasy Football's Facebook group. So with all that being said, I want to thank my guests for today, tremendous people, Katie Hajmahalis of King's College, head coach there for women's basketball, and fantastic what she said, just how organized she was and how much she planned and looked at resources to help in the world that we live in today, of making sure that Black Lives Matter, the Black community, and that the conversation is open. Her teammates know how her players know how she feels, and that she has gone such above. I mean, honestly, I feel like her blueprint that she mentioned on today's show would be a great thing for people in general to look at, to really, move forward and try and find answers. She didn't wait for somebody to give her something. She went and found it, and she went immediately to her team, which I think is huge. So shout out to Katie Hajmahalis for all of that and for all the hard work that she's doing and the success that she's having at King's College, and also for being a part of Marywood women's basketball history and a fellow alum with me. So God bless to you, Katie. Thank you so much. And a big up and big thanks to Mike Sofka once again of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. A big thank you to the Wildcat Sports Pub for bringing us the best in fantasy football coverage and the best in fantasy football gaming and watching of those games and drafting and all that. You can hold your fantasy draft at the Wildcat Sports Pub this summer, so make sure that you do that. 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Call them at 315-487-2222 to book your fantasy party there. Ours is on August 30th. All day long. We got the entire new room to ourselves. We got the leather couches. We got the giant television. I'm going to do this up big time for all my fantasy owners, and we're going to be drafting all of our leagues all on Sunday, August 30th, all dang day. So I'm excited about doing that at the Wildcat. Much love to each and every one of you. Shout out to Charney's. Shout out to all my partners. I hope you have a great, great day. And make sure you find us on social media, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And, of course, on wakeupcalldt.com. We'll be back tomorrow with Eric Kroom, my dude, coming from Syracuse in NFL history. Him and I are going to be talking about the black community, being a black male athlete, growing up, and stories that he has, what we can do to continue the conversation and to move forward in a positive way where freedom is for all and it is free for all. Papa Joe will join us in hour number 1, as he always does every Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and so much more coming up. We'll see you on social media, and we will see you back here and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening, on facebook.com/livenowdt, where you're watching, and, of course, all the time on wakeupcalldt.com. You know the drill. God bless. No stress. Always do your best. I'll talk with you soon.